Isn't enlightenment the hardest thing on earth? Yeah, we have made it the hardest thing on earth. We have collectively agreed that this is the hardest thing on earth. And so now what I want the world to do is to collectively agree that enlightenment is the easiest thing to do. Welcome to Self-Mastery School for Moms, where you learn how to silence your inner saboteur, awaken your energy body, and connect to your higher self. You will go from mom to master, so you can make each day your masterpiece. My name is Janice Nelson, author and self-mastery teacher of Fabulous One philosophy. I'm on a mission to help you become the awakened mom. You are Fabulous One, and all you have to do is remember what you forgot. Hello, Fabulous One. Since my objective is to help you become a self-master, I feel we should talk about the word enlightenment and what it means to you and what it means to me. Because in today's world, we have created so many words, and these words have now meaning to them. But whatever meaning you've assigned to them, that's going to create the ceiling. That's going to create your ceiling. And I feel that right now in the world, we have made enlightenment the highest achievement. And I want to bring that idea that enlightenment is the highest achievement all the way down to the bottom and say enlightenment is the first step. And yes, that, I can imagine you'll have like a knee-jerk reaction, or it triggers you because isn't enlightenment the hardest thing on earth? Yeah, we have made it the hardest thing on earth. We have collectively agreed that this is the hardest thing on earth. And so now what I want the world to do is to collectively agree that enlightenment is the easiest thing to do. Why? Because it's going to shift your perspective in a very dramatic way. Because if enlightenment is the first thing we do, then that implies that there are other things that are more important than enlightenment? Yes, and this one is going to shock you even more. After enlightenment, it becomes extremely important. You are a good human being. And I know you're going to have resistance with that as well. There is a famous Buddhist saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. It basically states nothing changes. So if in our physical reality, the difference between an enlightened person and someone who is not enlightened is not seen or shown in your physical reality, then what is actually truly the difference? The difference is in the choices an enlightened person makes. The difference is in the intention an enlightened person has. The difference is in the fact that an enlightened person knows that we are one and operates from that premise and wants to do the right thing. An enlightened person also knows from the start that doing the right thing not always leads to right action or right end results. There is a famous saying, what is it? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. But when you are enlightened, you know that already. You know that at your core, you know that it is true. Because as long as people are not enlightened, every word out of your mouth can be distorted, can be construed into something else that wasn't the intention. So what's the point of living a life full of people who are striving to become enlightened? It means that enlightenment is all the way at the end of the road. It means that whatever we do from now to enlightenment, we don't need to take responsibility for that because we've been unconscious this whole time. So when you start from the premise that we are all enlightened, immediately it gives you a greater sense of responsibility. You could walk in your world. You can wake up every day and then say to yourself, what would an enlightened person do? But if you believe you need to become enlightened, you need to reach enlightenment, then you're off the hook. Hey, I'm not enlightened, so I don't need to do all that good stuff. I don't need to do the save the world stuff. I don't need to be a good neighbor because, hey, I'm not enlightened. I'm not a saint. I'm not a spiritual teacher. So, hey, oh well, right? It basically gives you an out. Not to be that responsible person. Isn't that one of those funny images you always see coming by on social media? Those funny images where someone is on the stage and talking to a large group of people, and then the person who's talking on the stage is talking about change. We need to change, and everybody is like, yeah, we need to change. And then the second question is like, okay, so who wants to change? And then it's like crickets. And then maybe, if we're lucky enough, a few people raise their hands, right? Like, okay, I would like to try. I want to change. And then the last question is like, okay, so who wants to lead the change? Nobody. Because nobody wants to have rotten eggs and rotten tomatoes thrown at them, right? Because that's what it's come down. That's what it comes down to. We're afraid to stick our neck out. So we can hide behind this idea that enlightenment is just for those, high priestesses and high priests and these very, very gifted people who meditate 8 hours a day and study another 8 hours a day and only eat, sleep, breathe spirituality and enlightenment and reaching higher levels of consciousness. And so therefore that level of intensity or that level of activity I'm not willing to do. So I am never going to become enlightened, and now I'm off the hook. Now I can do just whatever and use the excuse, but I'm unconscious. Right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that unconscious people are not doing the right thing. Because you can be unconsciously conscious. You can be unconsciously enlightened. Because if you're a person who does right, who follows her heart, who speaks her truth, who is trying her best to do the right thing, that is what an enlightened person is trying to do as well. And that is as well the gift or the experience an enlightened person is trying to give upon you, or at least try to share that experience in words to the best of that enlightened teacher's ability. That's what it comes down to. When you take the extra out of the ordinary, it just becomes ordinary. So we need to take enlightenment off of that pedestal and put it back on the ground and understand that we are enlightened. And if you feel you are not, then that's a good question to ask. Why do you feel you are not? What is it that you think you still need to prove? To who? In order for you to call yourself a self-master. Because I can practically guarantee you that's the list the shadow self or the inner saboteur has ready for you the moment you become brave enough to see the truth of who you are. You are Fabulous One. I'm just here to remind you of what you forgot.